Obviously, we're essential because the dogs have to be clean, fed, and upkept. They're alive. So the contracted training company was there, hands down. And me and the kennel master, we do have a kennel master there. He's an MA, like at least most places in the Navy have them. And we had to run a blue gold schedule because they didn't want us all there. And training, we were kind of off the grid, so no one knew we really existed, kind of. So we got away with, doing what we wanted to do. Wasn't too bad.
To me, it's fascinating and alarming that the whole COVID experience had the impact that it had on our military.
Well, it got me out.
Yeah.
Forced me out.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't take it.
No shit.
I refused it, and my EAOS lined up, and it was a complete and utter abortion in an alleyway for me because I had to put a religious waiver in, like most guys, kick the can down the road long enough until it was my time to go. And I literally made the choice. I think I got out in like 61 days.
Wow.
No plan, no job, no nothing.
No doubt.
No kids, or 2 kids in a family. Just said, nope,
Yeah.
this doesn't feel right, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel right. And unfortunately, it wasn't what the brochure said the experience anymore. So
Yeah.
it was taking my smile. So it was time for me to.
No, good for you.
Yeah.
I applaud that. I think. How does it sit with you now, looking back and seeing the military saying, "Hey, if you want to come back in because you didn't do it, you're welcome." Like, how many of those guys are like, "Fuck you, I'm not coming back in"? Do you know anybody that's come back in?
No, and all the guys were already at that point of fuck you.
Yeah.
Because of how they were being treated. The guys that were saying, "Hey, this doesn't feel right. I don't think I agree with this." I mean, they got
Railroaded.
Oh man. I mean, I know on the West Coast that they were pretty powerful movement over there, and on the East Coast they just corralled these dudes in an office and said, "Check in every day. We don't care." Like it was, you were blackballed, man. Like it was
Really?
bad. Yeah, they wanted you under MA supervision. I mean, it was
What?
dude. Guys were
For not getting the shot.
fighting for their lives, man.
Dude, what?
Fighting for their lives, dude. It was crazy.
Dude, that's embarrassing.
It's very embarrassing, and it got to the point with me. My wife and I were holding tight, saying, "Hey, well, if we feel this way, then we're being told it's time to leave."
Yeah. Wow.
But I feel like you to answer your question, I feel like it's complete utter dog shit that they're going to welcome people back that they kicked out.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way I would do it.
Absolutely not. Matter of fact, I'm going to come after you and probably sue you, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think they should.
Yep.
Do you know about how many guys how many no shit active duty SEALs refused the shot and were forced out of the military?
I don't have that number.
Ballpark. Dozens, hundreds?
I would say dozens, because I know in the West Coast, I think the group in the West Coast that kind of started it, like, hey, we're going to lawyer up, this doesn't feel right. It was a pretty big group of dudes. I think it was somewhere 10 or more.
Yeah.
And I know on the East Coast, it was guys were on a daily mission. Like, well, if I don't do this, then I got, and that was another 2 dozen dudes that were in a holding pattern of what their future was going to be. And these weren't all like you guys. Yeah. This is war, veterans that were like, this does not feel right.
That's absurd.
Yep.
Absolutely absurd.
Yep.
So all right, so you play that,
what their future was going to be, and these weren't all like you guys. Yeah. This is war, veterans that were like, this does not feel right.
That's absurd.
Yep.
Absolutely absurd.
Yep.
So all right, so you play that game long enough to at least get out without having to be kicked out.
Yeah, I got my honorable, which was good.
Were the guys that were forced out for not getting the shot, did they get other than honor?
I believe so. Or they're getting threatened with that, I believe. If not dishonorable. Because you were getting hit by, you were disobeying a direct order.
To me, this sucks for 2 reasons.
Right.
Actually, more than 2 reasons. But the primary 2 are that I get hey, when you sign up, like, you can't refuse all the other inoculations and boot. You can't be like, no, I don't want that one. They're like, this is what you're getting. You signed up. That's part of the deal. I get that. Where this is different is that, that's not one that you signed up to get, number one. And number 2, it's like, you can argue till we're all blue in the face about the efficacy or the lack of efficacy of it. But the fact that it was, essentially experimental, it was rushed through, it wasn't part of the program when you signed up. It's kind of an oddball. To me, from a legality standpoint, it's kind of a weird gray area that way. Like, where I think it's the most disheartening is that, to take guys, say, look, like, I could understand if the Navy said, we would like everybody to get it, but we're not going to force you to get
Right.
it. You know,
you can suggestive sell to me all day long.
yeah,
but I have to have a choice.
Yeah, to me that is how they should have handled it. To legitimately like slap your dick on the counter and say, if you don't get this, we're kicking qualified combat veteran active duty Navy SEALs out of the military because you won't take this fucking shot. To me, it says so much more about what I've been bitching about since you and I have come in contact with each other since last night, and just the lack of overall quality leadership, and the higher you go, the worse it gets, you know. And to me, this is as clear cut of an example that exists, you know, of that. From a morale standpoint, from an overall community vibe, if you will, you know, you've got, now how the fuck is there a fly flying around in here, especially in this weather? Bryce, handle that, will you? From your perspective, having gotten out fairly recently, how would you characterize the overall morale of the SEAL community right now?
I have more conversations on a weekly basis with the guys that are so lost because they lost what they feel is a part of them when they had to inevitably leave the SEAL teams before they wanted to.
Yeah.
I was one of them. And I think between that instance, the situation we're talking about now, and then everything else, because the op tempo isn't where it was, and now everyone's so focused on, I hate to say it, but like haircuts and shaves and stuff, that I understand we joined the military and there has to be some bearing there. I'm not going to say we're special, so we should get special, but we should be focused on our priority, and that's defending this country at the highest level. Yeah. And I don't think that that's necessarily the priority all the time. And I think from the mafia, you know, the little E5, E6 mafia, it's they're still going to be pipe hitters and they're still going to get after it. But I think that a lot of guys are really looking at it like, man, it's not what the brochure said.
Yeah.
And I think that it's heartbreaking. It was for me. It was really difficult to make that transition out when I wasn't done. I had plenty left in me to give to the Navy. Yeah, like I said, a lot of my buddies, it's a weekly conversation on what's next. What do we do next?
Yeah.
How do we navigate this space that we didn't anticipate being in? And I found my silver linings, found my light through helping others get out with what they're entitled for, you know, to get out with. So yeah, it's low. Morale is low, my friend. Let's just to put it in a nutshell, very low. And I'm talking with guys coming off the birds now from deployment, and you know, on my coast, it's we got to get across the street. We got to get over to the command. Like we want them to take the next step forward. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I think from a big picture standpoint, I, you know, would beg to differ a little bit in that, you know, it's called naval special warfare.
I know.
It's called special operations.
I know.
You know, so to me, you know, whether you're shaved or not, or your uniform looks a certain way, it's like, yeah, you're in the military, but special operations are unconventional by design.
Correct.
And I think you should always look at, like I was saying last night, you know, to me, the simplest question that you should always ask yourself when you're deciding whether or not to do something is, does it make us a more effective warfighting force? The answer is yes, do it. To me, if you're expecting guys to be as blended in and as kind of autonomous as possible within the military to go execute anti-terrorism and quick strike raids and unconventional warfare, to me, the smart answer is we'll let them, from a uniform and code standpoint, let them be however they need to be good at that. You know, I think being clean shaven with a high and tight has no bearing on that. Correct. And if anything, you know, the amount of time that you spend going through training and getting to that point is something that very few people obtain. And if something as simple as letting guys have beards and out of reg tattoos and fucking ponytails or top knots that look like Vikings or whatever, if that helps them feel more like a band of brothers, if it raises morale, why not do it? You know, it's not hurting anything.
We need you back, man. We need you back, bro.
up next? This isn't good. Should have thought twice. Should have thought twice. Who's up next? Let's try something new.
You won't stop me!
Leave it here. You're welcome. That was rough.
Let's have some payback.
Let's try something new. Of course it's down to me.
Come for you.
You try.
The trial commences. You are a representative. Sanctuary.
You won't stop me!
Who's up next? Enemy down.
Even when you need one!
Find some cover.
You won't stop me!
Ready for some revenge? Enemy down.
We're halfway to victory.
Ready for some revenge? end this quickly.
The enemy has made it halfway.
Should have thought twice.
Double kill.
What did you think would happen? Cross over it. Let's try something new. That was fun.
Taking the lead.
Of course it's down to me.
Blade here. Let's mix it up.
Enemy down.
Double kill.
What did you
Shut
think would
down.
happen?
We have the advantage.
Better find some cover.
You are the avatar of death. You won't stop me.
Final victory.
Double kill.
What did you think?
Cry of terror rings out.
Push back the enemy.
Triple kill.
Join your friends in the afterlife. I'm not finished yet.
It is not. We'll win this fight yet.
You won't stop me.
They've broken. Victory is ours.
Easy battle. Almost a waste of my talent. I'll grant clear. My and decisions.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind. We've got some fake news BS to cover today. You know, I think this clip is going to provide us some value in this video.
Had a broke Iran, and now you have a very rich Iran. Iran was broke when I left. They had no money to give to Hamas. They had no money.
Okay, I think we've gotten all the legal analysis we're going to get out of President Trump. You know, it's odd there because this was actually an opportunity for him to come out and say,
well, it's not because he wants to talk about himself. Right. He doesn't want to talk about the Supreme Court and say, oh, the Supreme Court did a nice job today. He just wants to talk about what's on his mind himself.
Could I just say, someone didn't tell him that this sounded like good news for him today. Clearly, I mean, it wasn't just the rambling sort of campaign speech, but if he had simply listened to the analysis afterwards, he would know that it sounds like he's in good shape.
Or George's point, which is that he doesn't even care. He just wants to change the subject back to whatever his...
But Jake, he's going to care when the court acts on the immunity case, right? And I think that's the real question now.
MSNBC moment is this Jake Tapper moment.
Prosecution here in D.C.
Ah, well, isn't that just such neutral, trusted...
Florida, as far as we can tell, and what we were prepared for here is that this is basically a campaign speech in which he is repeating his same lies and allegations.
Hush here, joining us. Who's up next?
You won't stop me!
This isn't good. Let's try something new.
Blade here. Let's mix it up.
Enemy down. Let's end this quick. Let's try something new. Over here. Not dead yet. Of course it's down to me. Of course it's down to me. Enemy down.
You won't stop me!
Enemy down.
The enemy's plans are halfway complete. Only half of our objectives remain.
You have vanquished a powerful foe.
The enemy has the advantage.
You have vanquished all the avatar of death.
Who's up next? I'm returned from the flames.
You won't stop me!
You tried.
We have them on the defensive.
Enemy ahead.
Don't forget, you owe me.
Not dead yet. Enemy down.
The trial commences. We serve order. A retreat.
Let's try something new.
We stand on a knife's edge. The battlefield favors the enemy.
Let's try something new.
We have lost the battle, but not the war.
Against his perceived enemies. It is just getting started. So far, he's just organization. We won't, but
I guess in this case, just find some sort of excuse to cut away from Trump, deplatform his speech. The MSNBC tactic was a dishonest virtue signal about not wanting to platform Trump's constant misinformation. It's dangerous. No, of course not. Only they're allowed to misinform the public, as we know. But in CNN's case, they decided the comic relief route is probably the best approach. Well, enough of Trump's expert legal analysis. Let's shift to the great political mind of George Conway. What an absolute farce, people. Let's play the clip again.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Cutting off Donald Trump, laughing at him.
Offices. We have a number of published cases of states.
I understand that. I understand the states controlling state elections and state positions. What we are talking about here are national candidates. I understand. You look at Foner or Foote, Shelby Foote, or McPherson, they all. Talk about, of course, the conflict after the Civil War, and there were people who felt very strongly about retaliating against the South, the radical Republicans. But they did not think about authorizing the South to disqualify national candidates. And that's the argument you're making.
He speaks about disqualification from holding office. You say he is disqualified from holding office from the moment it happens.
Correct, but nevertheless...
So it operates, you say that there's no legislation necessary. I thought that was the whole theory of your case. And no procedure necessary. It happens automatically.
Well, certainly you need a procedure in order to have any remedy to enforce the disqualification, which is different.
That's a whole separate question. That's the de facto doctrine. It doesn't work here. Okay, put that aside. He's disqualified from the moment. Self-executing. Done. And I would think that a person who would receive a direction from that person, the president, former president, in your view, would be free to act as he or she wishes without regard to that individual.
I don't think so, because I think, again, the de facto officer doctrine would nevertheless come into play to say this is...
No, de facto, that doesn't work, Mr. Murray, because de facto officer is to ratify the conduct that's done afterwards and insulate it from judicial review. Put that aside. I'm not going to say it again. Put it aside. Okay? I think Justice Alito's asking a very different question, a more pointed one, and more difficult one for you, I understand. But I think it deserves an answer. On your theory, would anything compel a lower official to obey an order from, in your view, the former president?
I'm imagining a situation where, for example, a former president was,
reception. Seems like another witch hunt's about to bite the dust of...
The best sandwich I've ever had. Do you know what? It's not even close. Best sandwich I ever had was in Sicily. About 7-8 years ago, I went on a short break there, a short holiday there. And what's most surprising about the best sandwich I've ever had is it was at a service station, in a petrol station. Rolled up in me little Fiat Punto that I was hiring at the time. Went in to this petrol station, a little bit peckish, not expecting much. because you don't expect much in this country, in the UK, in England, if you're peckish in a petrol station. Anyway, rolled up, went in there, and they had this kind of sandwich bar in there, just this random service station, petrol station, in a pretty secluded spot, nothing major. Went in there, had this sandwich bar, all these fresh sandwiches. I was like, wow, I'll try one of them. Got it like a ham and cheese one. And it was absolutely delicious. The bread was soft and delicious. The ham was top notch. The cheese was tasty. The kind of mayo and the herbs that they had in there was delicious. The lettuce was fresh and crisp. My word, I'm making myself hungry. Don't know about you. Anyway, it was absolutely delightful. So much so, I even remember it now. I'm talking 7-8 years ago. Best sandwich I ever had from a service station. Have you seen the food that they serve nowadays? Have you seen the food going into the supermarket? Of course you have. Because if you're like 99.9% of the population, then you're buying your food and consuming it from a supermarket. Maybe not that high percentage, because people do go out as well and go to local businesses, local butchers and stuff like that. The point I'm making here is, if you are most of the population, you are buying your food and consuming it from a supermarket. And when you go into a supermarket and you start to read the ingredients, start to really pay attention, and I mean really pay attention to the ingredients and what's in this food, you'll appreciate that 90-odd%, I'm just guessing here, that's what the experts do, isn't it? A very high percentage of the food in that supermarket really shouldn't be fit for consumption at all. You look at the ingredients, you look at what it is that they are serving up to us. It should be banned. It shouldn't even be allowed. You know, you see those memes with, it says like, disease starter pack. Why am I ill starter pack? And it's got all these different reasons as to why we have issues and illness and gut problems, and why there's now so many of us experiencing things like allergies and problems. Look no further than this type of food. I went to a frigging service station, petrol station in Sicily, in a pretty remote place, and they were serving better sandwiches than what you get in a premium restaurant here. So what's this all about? It's about standards, isn't it? It's about standards. It's about what we allow and what we've allowed to take place. And I know that can sound actually a little bit harsh, because actually the way that this system has been created and works now is that things like supermarkets, places like supermarkets, it's us collectively saying, okay, look, well, for the convenience, I'm going to go there and I'm going to buy all my food there. And for the convenience, this is where we're really suffering. This is where it's really biting us on the arse, is because we're selling out for the convenience. We're allowing all this crap, all this horribleness in our food, this stuff that isn't fit for consumption, to be the thing that we now buy, when service stations in Sicily are selling better standards of sandwiches that you can probably even find in this entire country. That is down to standards. That is what we are creating. That is what we are allowing to happen, isn't it? As I said, it could be a little bit harsh to suggest that, but really that's what it comes down to. Because when we go and we spend our hard-earned money at that till, we're basically saying, yes, you know, do what you like, yeah? And then in return, these big corporations, these supermarkets, are in turn saying, okay, well look, you bought that, well, I'll continue then. And then the standards slip even more, because that's how it works. It's all what anybody gets away with. It's exactly the same in our lives. If you don't have standards and principles in your life with the people in it, that's one example, guess what happens? The more you allow to happen, the more you let happen in your life, the more people are going to do it. Basic principles of human psychology. It's a little bit cruel. It's very cruel. But this is how it is. It's kind of survival of the fittest. And if we let those standards and principles slip in our lives, with the people in our lives, as an example, then they keep taking chunks, they keep taking bites out of us. It's exactly the same with people in our lives, exactly the same with the people and the food and the decisions, what we consume, everything. It's all down to standards and principles. So although it might sound a little bit harsh to suggest that it's what we have allowed to happen, because the supermarkets just seem to just throw this crap out at us, and we're buying it and consuming it, we have to reflect on that, and we have to take responsibility, and we have to say, you know, they're always going to throw these things like cost of living crisis and stuff like that at us, and inflation, and there's absolutely no doubt that prices have become eye-wateringly ridiculous for this horrible food as well. They're always going to throw that at us. So you might argue, well, you know, what choice do I have? I can't afford to eat better. I can't afford to do this. I can't afford to do that. Where they have added convenience, there's always a cheaper option on making a better effort, more of an effort with yourself. That's again where responsibility comes in. Where they've added the convenience of a sausage roll, where they've added the convenience of a ready meal that they actually call added value, where they've done any of that, yes, it will take your effort, yes, it will take your time, but there will always be a cheaper alternative to that, but it will always take a little bit more effort. And again, that's kind of the balance that we need to look at and strike, really. It's either that or continue to consume this horrible, horrible food that just will cause us so many problems and issues, mentally and physically and mentally. It's all connected. So it's balancing responsibility, time, effort, money. Never an easy thing. But you could argue that you can't afford not to do it, because your health is everything. What are we without our health? And we can't keep letting these feckers get away with it, right? These supermarkets and these big corporations handing over our hard-earned money for the trash that they give us back in return. They can't keep getting away with that. And the more of us do that, the more they'll realise that they have to up their standards. And that's how this cycle works. I've started a new community. Anybody out there, I know odds-wise there are going to be a percentage of people watching this. Anybody that's dealing with anxiety, dealt with anxiety, might deal with anxiety.
Hush here, joining up. Let's end this quick.
the new community. It's free to join. Check it out. It's anxietyrebalance.com. That's the website. You can join up for free there. And that'll give you more details as well. It's a community that I've set up for, well, dealing with anxiety. It's pretty self-explanatory, really. Anyway, if that makes sense to you.
Double kill.
anxietyrebalance.com. Check it out.
Triple kill.
Let anybody else know that you might know dealing with anxiety as well. Let them know as well. anxietyrebalance.com. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. It helps out. You have a marveloso day. Ta-ta.
Hush here, joining up.
The trial commences.
Let's try something new. Let's end this quick. Who's up next? Enemy down. end this quickly. I am magic itself.
We're taking fire.
Let's end this quickly.
The enemy's work is halfway done.
Down to me. Let's end this quickly. Better
Halfway through. Stay strong. This is our last chance.
not dead yet.
Break your spirit.
Let's try something new.
Headshot.
Enemy down. You tried. Raven here. You're welcome. Better find some cover.
The triumph
A reprieve.
rise. Let's have some payback.
Did I say rest?
One last push to victory.
You are the avatar of death.
Get there! Get a move on! Link broken. Victory is ours.
Good work, everybody. I'm proud of you.
Double kill. You are the avatar of death. Triple kill.
Hey, if you come on stage, I'll buy you a bucket of beer. Jesus. Y'all see why I don't like black people? How much is it gonna take you to come on stage? I'll buy your whole table around of Hennessy shots. I know that's what y'all drink. I didn't think he wanted no smoke. That want to talk in the shadows. Try to ruin the whole show, man. All these good-ass white people at my show. And you wanted to show them the reason George Floyd got his neck nailed on. Don't ooh at that joke.
A few moments later.
Oh, they roll with him. Man, come on, the thing about comedy is you talk about deep and dark shit. That's when you're the most vulnerable, and that's when you laugh the hardest. Happy Insurrection Day. It's January the 6th, mother. We started the Capitol 3 years ago. I'm about to put on a Klan rally since these niggas gone. Y'all just playing. You gotta stoop low for a joke. George Floyd would have robbed you too.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about
Hush here, joining up. Who's up next?
I am magic. There's no escape.
Let's try something new. Eat crow. Of course it's down to me. Crow.
Shut down.
Twice. You tried.
The enemy is halfway to victory. The enemy's work is halfway done.
Who's up next?
Over here.
Follow me.
I am completely served.
Double kill.
Join your friends in the
You are the avatar of death.
Taking the lead.
Triple kill.
Join your friends
A
in the
cry of terror rings out. Double kill.
What did you think was happening?
Triple kill.
What did you think? That was rough. I am reborn. Am the flame.
Victory is within our grasp. Our final victory is at hand.
Should have thought twice.
I am magic itself.
Eyes on the enemy.
Fly. Leave no survivors.
Avatar of death.
The immortals are with us this day.
A true test of my skills.
I am hope. You are dark.
You are the avatar of death. Double kill.
What did you think?
Triple kill.